180, we are going to be talking all about that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. It's a very common mistake that we see, especially in brand new businesses, where you think you can just do it all. And maybe for a little bit you can, but long term, that's not gonna work out for you. So we're gonna talk about why that's important, why it is important to know that you can do anything, but you shouldn't do everything. Want to give a huge shout out to people that are here watching us live. First off to Max H, who joined for basic support. Thank you for that support, sir. Duff is here as well. Da Vinci 10 is here. Spectravi is here. Thomas Russ is here. David Connor Shover's here. With Allison Ford is here. Duff is here, although I might have said Duff earlier. Breaker 3D Justin is here. Matrix Tech, Mad Cat USA, and Sanjay is here as well. Thank you all for showing up. And yeah, if you are here hanging out with us live, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Share it with your friends. Let other people know we're hanging out, doing this kind of thing where we stream pretty much every single Sunday, where we talk about different business topics, different stuff inside of the 3D printing industry, and we are likely looking to bring on a co-host. So that is something that we will be working toward here in the near future. Try to find somebody that can hang out with me pretty much every single weekend, or minimally like a rotating round of guests that are totally cool for us to hang out with. Anyways, we're going to dive into this thing here because it is a thing with business, especially with your solopreneurs out there. And a lot of you that are running your own Etsy shops or your own small businesses, you're kind of doing everything. And you might say, I can do it all. And I would say for a short amount of time, you might be right. You might be right. But in the long run, you're gonna absolutely burn yourself out, right? Look at what your strengths are, look at what your weaknesses are, and fill in those holes. You want to focus on those core activities of your business. What do you do that brings your business money? If you're not great at accounting, let's not try to figure that one out on our own. Let's either use some software that can help out. Let's use an accountant, a CPA, a bookkeeper, whatever you might need to use to make that happen. Let's bring in professionals to buff you where you are deficient. It is a very difficult thing when you're first starting because, Grant, I don't have any money. How am I going to be able to afford all of this? This is incredibly expensive. How do you expect me to be able to do it? And my answer to you is, I get it. It sucks. It's expensive. But nobody told you that business was going to be easy and cheap. Business is very, very complicated. And those of you that are even starting to sell at conventions are starting to see conventions cracking down on sellers, basically saying, look, you have to file taxes in our state if you go above a certain amount. And for some states, if you sell a penny, you need to file taxes. And that sucks. That's a pain in the ass and a lot of paperwork that will drive those who are not motivated to not bother doing it, or it's going to drive them into, let's go with, less than reputable ways of doing business. For us personally, it's something that we try to do when we go to shows that they have required reporting. We make sure to get involved in it because, we do randomly have merch and crap with us when we're hanging out. And, if we can support people, we can. But although I might start doing merch at shows with like a quasi donation thing. I don't know. I'm kind of working on some ideas there. But you need to be able to focus on what your core activities are. So for me personally, I suck at accounting. I struggled through it in college. So when we started 3D Musketeers, we had an accountant who was also the bookkeeper. So the CPA who did our taxes every year was also the person that made sure that my books balanced every single month, because I should not be trusted to do that. Can I do it? Probably. Should I do it? Absolutely not. I knew where I was deficient. Where am I better at? I'm better at running machines. I'm better at making parts. I'm better at doing all of the things that make the business money. And let's not focus on making sure that I get every penny correct in the event of a 3-letter agency deciding to take an extra look at things. In my opinion, I look at myself and say, all right, Grant, where are you good? You're good at bringing in customers. You're good at making parts. You're good at communicating to people, but you kind of suck at making sure that everything is like properly categorized when it comes to finances. Let somebody else handle that. And for the amount of money that we've been paying every single month, the money that we pay every single year to get our taxes done, it is insurance. It is cheap insurance for the business that ensures that somebody understands more about it than I do. I recognize that I'm not a video editor, never very good at one. So we hired video editors from the start. Did that mean we hemorrhaged money for a couple of years in YouTube before it started to get close to paying for itself? Absolutely. Yeah, it did. But it meant that I could stress less about editing videos all the time and focus on what I do best, which is bringing in customers and making the business money. See, you have to recognize where you're good. And if you are a really good engineer, but you really don't like talking to people, starting an engineering firm might not be the right move for you, at least until you get some more experience talking with people. If you're a maker that loves doing 3D prints, but doesn't have any CAD experience and doesn't want to get CAD experience, it might be good for you to strategically align yourself with somebody on like Fiverr or Upwork that can do that CAD work for you, as long as you're not doing NDA stuff or anything like that, but be able to help out on those small projects where you can just offload it to somebody else and focus on what you're good at. Part of this focusing on your core activities is aligning yourself with what drives you to do your business. If you sit there and just try to do everything, you're going to hate it. You're going to absolutely hate your business. The goal here is not to hate your business. Don't hate your business. Oh yeah, look at that. The details on the bottom of the screen are screwed up. Why is that a thing? Now, forget it. It's gone. Why is that a thing? I updated OBS and that changed. Okay, OBS. Thank you, Allison. But yeah, you know. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Now that's going to bother me as to why it's broken. But for right now, it's just going to go away. In fact, I might be changing the way that this thing is set up. I don't know. I am working on things that I want to change, but I'm not a great graphic artist, so I'm offloading this kind of stuff because, again, I know where my alliances lie. And you guys might say, Grant, it's easy for you to talk like this because you have the finances to support it. And yes, right, we have income coming in for the business. The business is net profitable. And so, yes, we can afford to hire people, and we are actively hiring people at this time. So if you have skills in things like graphic design, merch design, producing, we are looking for a producer to help us maintain the content stream that we have, as well as obtain corporate sponsorships to help be able to better afford the channel. These are all kind of roles that we're looking to hire. We're hiring maybe one more engineer, maybe. That one I'm kind of debating on right now. And if you are local to the Tampa Bay area, I would like to talk to you because there is some work here locally and in the state of Florida that would require someone to be physically at a facility to do the labor. So those are all things that we're looking to hire for because, again, I'm only one person and I can only do so many things. We have to look at where my time is best spent. This is the concept of working on your business versus in your business. And when you first start your business, you don't have a choice. You have to work in it. You can't just immediately start by working on your business. Your business is a baby. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be, taught, and it needs to learn, and it needs to do all of these things. And if you're not properly nursing and educating your baby's gonna have problems, and your baby could not survive. So yes, initially you want to work in your business, but at some point down that line, you need to work on it. working on your business is when you understand where your value lies. If your value is, hey, I'm a great engineer, but I'm not a great salesperson, find a salesperson. It's going to cost you some money, but you have to look at a concept called return on investment, or ROI, right? If I want to spend, let's say, $50 an hour on an engineer, and a well-qualified engineer at 3D Musketeers could make up to that amount, right? We have no issues with that. But I have to look at it and say, how fast are they? How good are they going to be able to do things? How are things going to work? And if we don't have an answer to all of those things, then potentially, regardless of their qualifications, they might not be a good fit. I have to look at how I can utilize their time, pay them for their time, but then charge more for their time to somebody else to make a difference. And yes, while you might not be able to hire somebody, you might be able to look at doing something like a 1099, which is how the bulk of small businesses operate. It's called an independent contractor, where you hire somebody as needed, right? You bring them on for a project. It is, you pay them in cash. They deal with taxes. You're effectively handing somebody $100 bills for their work. And you can find people that are going to charge you a lot less. Sometimes you get what you pay for, so be aware of things like that. But yeah, when we first started, I had to make the tough decision to say, you know what? We don't have finances to be able to support engineers. But if we want to grow as a business, we must obtain that finance, or we might just need to risk it. And we chose option 2. We didn't want to take outside investment. The last thing I want to do is kind of be beholden to somebody else. Those of you that are totally fine with getting investment, please go ahead and do. It's not my thing. It makes me feel very awkward to get investment like that. Heck, it makes me awkward to even ask companies for financial sponsorships for the YouTube channel. Hence why I want somebody to do it for us, right? I have to look again where I'm best fitted. I'm best fitted of being in a conference room with a 3D printer, showing off how they can work for somebody's business and signing those deals, and letting an engineer worry about how we actually make the parts for that deal. I'm not an engineer. I have 2 business degrees. I can do basic fusion work. I can do basic CAD work, but anything that requires more than an hour to 2 hours of time, it's not for me. My time is better spent doing other things. And you as a business owner, you as someone that wants to start a business, have to realize that your time has more value than you actually think. Just because McDonald's is only going to pay you $10 to $12 an hour max for your effort does not mean that that is all that your time is worth. You have to look at what is your return on your investment. And so this delegation allows you as a prosumer, hobbyist, whatever, right, to concentrate on the core competency strategies and the direction of the business. That is what you need to focus on. Your focus needs to be, what is the direction of my business? By delegating the stuff that you don't believe is best suited for your time and things that are outside of your area of expertise or your, kind of locus of control, right? You can invest more time and energy into the things that actually matter to you and your business. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter to you. Offload it, outsource it, or don't offer it. If you can't do CAD and you can't afford somebody to do CAD for you, then maybe don't offer it. Take some time to learn it. Go ahead and just do 3D printing for people. I would hedge a bet that in most places, there is a market for people that need 3D printed stuff done. We've started to deny smaller projects at this point because it's not worth the effort to me anymore. We're looking for those high value projects that come with big numbers for us to work on. But maybe there is engineering involved. Maybe there's 3D scanning involved. Maybe there's more to it than just 3D printing. We didn't start out with crazy expensive scanners and crazy expensive staff. We started out riding the struggle bus, like most people do. And if you're riding the struggle bus saying, when the hell am I going to get from riding in the bus to being the driver to then getting to the next position, it takes time, and you have to look toward the future and understand where you need to go as a business to get to that next step. Just like you would in a day job. You have to look at it and say, all right, I'm here, but I want to be here. What are the things that I need to do to fill in that gap? How do I bridge the gap between where I am and where I want to be? How do I make that work? And if you say, all right, I'm not competent in this area, this area, this area, and this area, and for me to get from here to here, I need to get that. I would say, well, maybe not. Because while you can do anything, you maybe shouldn't do everything. Burnout is a real factor for small business owners. The ones that do try to do everything, they will often find themselves in this rut of, I suck at everything, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just pretending. And guess what? The idea of fake it till you make it is literally like 95% of adult life, man. That's all that it is, right? It is slyly talking a little bit better about yourself to get that next promotion, being that, and then becoming that person. And there might be some imposter syndrome here where you don't feel as though you deserve it, but clearly you do. You worked your ass off to get to where you are. You deserve it. Mad Cat's got a thing here, and I want to dig into that a little bit. And he said, what if you feel not competent in any area? Welcome to the fun problem that can be ADHD and mental issues. I've talked about it before, where people say that every business needs an accountant and a lawyer, and I add a therapist onto that. If you are struggling with those kinds of issues where you don't feel like you're competent in any area, it's time that you talk to a professional about it. It is okay to seek professional help. I see no problem in it. And if you are struggling in the United States to afford counseling, I highly recommend Open Path Collective. Open Path Collective does not sponsor this. They are a federal nonprofit, and they are a way to help you be able to afford therapy, to help talk to a professional to get you on the right tasks. This is a very good ad read for them, even though it's not an ad read. They're not paying me. I'm a customer of Open Path. They probably don't even know that I exist. I highly recommend them. And if they are a nonprofit, I'm fairly certain they're a non. Well, if they're not a nonprofit, congratulations, you just got free advertisement from me. But Open Path is a great way if you do need to afford therapy and if you're struggling to do that, because it is not cheap. Go and get one, right? Go to Open Path, find somebody and work with them. It is very easy to fall into a pit of, I don't really know what I'm doing. And I would argue with you that, does anybody actually truly know 100% of what they're doing? Or, are they just really good at Googling? Are they really good at researching? Are they really good at one specific thing that makes them stand out in what they do? Or are they truly an expert? I would say somebody like Adrian Boyer in our industry is a true expert. The man literally invented consumer-grade 3D printing as we know it. But I bet dollars to donuts if you talk to him, he's not some arrogant SOB that wants to remind you constantly that your hobby is because of him. He's going to tell you that even he has a lot to learn. That's what a real expert looks like. Someone that recognizes that, sure, they might be seen as the industry expert, but they recognize that they still have a lot to learn. Not feeling as though that you're competent in any one area is also likely because, those of you that are listening here probably have roughly the same issues that I have, where you just want to keep bouncing between things. And as soon as it stops becoming fun for you, you're moving on to something else. Yeah. As soon as you get good enough at it that it's no longer challenging, you don't want to do it anymore. And I totally get that. Not a single person here is gonna poo-poo you because you don't feel like doing it anymore because it's easy. I would say to keep moving the goalposts, right? Do what the USA did for the moon. right? We said we're going to put the first person in space. Well, Russia beat us to it. No, it's the first person in orbit. I think Russia also beat us to that. No, it's the first person on the moon. USA. Keep moving the goalpost until you win. And that's where you get those little wins that will keep you moving. When you try to do everything, you find out that I've just kind of gotten a core competency in a lot of things, but I've never really developed a mastery. And that's okay. Welcome to ADHD, homie. As they say, jack of all trades, master of none. Certainly better than a master of one. There's a reason that saying exists. Not many people know the back half of it. I would every single day rather talk to someone who has an abundance of knowledge in areas that I can't even remotely comprehend than I would talk to someone that has a very hyper-specific knowledge base, and that's all they know. That's just me personally, though. Those of you might have different opinions there. So yeah, if you don't feel competent in any one area, that's okay. I would look at what is most enjoyable for you. What is the most fun? You don't always have to feel like you know what the hell you're doing. Have you all watched me build the freaking Voron? Do you honestly believe that I know what I'm doing? I'm not Steve Builds, who, by the way, is going to be streaming here relatively soon. And as soon as we're done, we're going to be kicking over to Steve's stream. I'm going to push everybody into Steve's stream. And I want you all to be obnoxious for like 5 seconds. And that's it. Leave Steve alone after that. He's a good guy. Just don't bother. We're going to be obnoxious when we raid into him. But that's it. It's the only time we're obnoxious. Just because it's funny, you know, to just push like 50 people into somebody's stream and just have a little bit of fun while we're doing it. But yeah, I'm not a printer designer. I've built one printer in my life from scratch, and it's a big D-bot. And if you're a part of our Patreon Discord server, which you can join at the $10 tier and higher via Patreon, PayPal, YouTube channel members, you would have seen it because I buy cameras, and I bought another camera. I bought a used Insta360 Link 4K. This is going to be one of our new streaming cameras that we use out on the garage set, and I had it set up so you could see all the way down my shop. And so if you always wanted to see what the rest of the shop looks like, that was your opportunity. And I don't know, maybe I'll plug it in and mess with it a little bit more today since I have a bunch of gear to install it out in the garage that maybe I'll do today, but let's be realistic. We're probably not getting to that today. Dr. Ronnie says not even a Nero. Jeez, y'all are mean to me. Man, I'm getting the hell kicked out of me today. But you know, it's okay to not be the Steve Builds of Voron building. It's okay to not be the Nero 3D of Voron building. I still enjoy it. Will I continue to build Vorons? Probably. But I do want to take a break in between it, right? I want to take a break in between building this Voron and doing my next Voron. I want to build something else. Or look at something else. I've got some other printers that we need to take a look at anyways. Anchor sent us an M5C a while ago. Comgrow sent us a T500 a while ago. I haven't had a chance to open up either one of those. And that Anchor M5C, I don't even think I can use it. And I think it's going to go to Amber's brother, I think was the idea for that printer. But anyways, not feeling that you're incredibly competent in any one area is a totally normal feeling. It's normal. You're human. Congratulations. You're a normal human being. Congratulations. I would say focus on what makes you happy, things that you like to do. And Mad Cat, I feel like we've had this discussion a few times. Do what makes you happy. If you hate your day job for whatever reason, find a new one, right? I've told this to some friends who are currently doing career changes right now. Would you rather be miserable and slightly more financially stable, or would you rather watch your savings dwindle a little bit while you try to find your happy place? I'm sorry, you know. And that again, that assumes you have the savings to be able to do that, which is not always something that you can do. So, okay, if you're in a position where you need to get some money coming in, go work at a Chipotle. And I say it specifically for Chipotle because Chipotle offers a lot of really great benefits to part-timers, right? One, free food. It's Chipotle. You can make it as healthy or as unhealthy as you want. Figure that one out on your own. Two, even part-timers get tuition remission. So if you're looking to go back to school, great way to do it and still get some cash. And then three, it's a food service job. They're pretty much always hiring. And what you need a pulse to go do a food service job, right? It is it's not easy to make a career shift. It's not easy to make those changes. And as somebody that took a leap of faith in November of 2019, when I took a leap of faith and said, I'm going to go work for somebody else, I took a job being a makerspace director, making a fair bit of money, which from the outside was basically doing the same stuff that I was doing for my own company, just for somebody else and actually making a salary from it. What ended up happening is I ended up getting injured and it changed my life forever. So do I spend time looking at that experience as a mistake? Or do I look at it and joke and say, I tried working for somebody else. It literally broke my back. I have to make jokes about it because otherwise it just sends you into a deep depression. Life will throw curveballs at you. Life will throw punches at you. And I would guess that pretty much any good fighter is going to tell you it's not always about throwing punches. It's not always about throwing the hits. It's about understanding how to take a hit and how to keep moving. Because if you can throw haymakers and knock other people down, but you have a glass jaw and just getting barely hit is going to send you into a knockout situation, then maybe you should work on strengthening yourself, who you are, before you worry about fighting other people. Remember, life is not about fighting. Business is not about fighting. It's about experiencing. And if you take all of your time thinking that everybody is against you, that life hates you, and all this bullshit, you're never going to find happiness. There are people that I've talked to later on in life that have regretted so much of what they did when they were younger because they were chasing something that mattered nothing when they got older. They weren't chasing happiness. Something to be aware of. Right? Nobody starts a business because it's what makes them happy. You start a business because you realize that you'd rather be in control of your own life and your own risk factors than you'd rather let somebody else. And in this economy, this day, I would much rather be in control of my own future than let some other company do it. That's just my opinion. Does that mean that I take more risks? Absolutely. I take a ton of risks. I'm looking to hire in people that we don't have the income to support. We have savings as a company that we're going to use to basically offset their compensation for a few months so we can build out the business case. This is what businesses do, right? I believe that there is value in understanding your deficiencies, because when you understand where you need extra help, you know where you're most efficient. And if you can be the perfect example of you to everybody else around you and not have those awkward things you might say, or, you know, the things that are burned into your memory as something you did that was really stupid, that everybody else will probably never remember, but you remember it as a core memory, right? Nobody else cares about that. They care about the times where you were there for them. You don't remember those embarrassing things about your friends. You remember all the times that they were there for you, that they helped you. Certainly for exes or people you're no longer talking to, you remember all the times that things didn't go well. Be the one that drives your team toward understanding their value. Because if you're not understanding your own value, how can you properly understand the value of others? David Connor Shover says, looking for a career change, possibly a change in venue. Yeah, that can be a big one. Duff says, speaking of Nero, keep those arms down, Grant. Don't let YouTube see those guns. Oh, yeah. R.I.P. Nero. Like, on the man's birthday too, man. That's some BS. For those that don't know, Nero showed off a cosplay blaster and YouTube nuked his channel for 90 days. And for those that don't know, that's Nero's income stream, right? So I would say that, at least for the foreseeable future, don't support me. I don't need your money. I'd like it, but you know who needs it? Nero. Nero is supporting his family with YouTube, with streaming, with doing the stuff that he does. And all of the sudden, YouTube took it away for a BS reason. Now, I would also argue that means he built a damn fine prop blaster. That's all I'm saying. If YouTube thinks it's a pew pew, I'd say you did a good job building it. But if this is your only income stream, which for him it is, that's a big deal. So if you guys want to support what we do, I would instead tell you to go over to Nero's channel. If one of the mods can post his channel, I'll go ahead and pin it. Go over to Nero's channel, support him for a couple of bucks a month with YouTube channel memberships. Go join his Discord. Yeah. I would rather see you guys support someone who probably not having a great couple of days, right? Let's support Nero where we can. Thomas says, why not both? Member for 11 months, members only Discord. All right, you know what? I can't say no to that, but I also don't want people, who are like, oh, I only have a couple of bucks a month. Well, then give it to Nero right now, because YouTube is taking away his ability to make money. They can't stop him from getting memberships unless they delete his channel. So you guys can go join on his channel. Go ahead and do that. Nero's a great guy. And, I want to see more people in our community succeed. I'm great at talking about other people. That's the funny thing. And I know I'm not the only one here who is great about talking about others, but sucks about talking about themselves. I find it to be like I'm gloating, right? I don't want to do that. Right? I don't want to do that. 3DHP says, same thing happened to TH3D for one live. You know what? I don't really care. TH3D has been harassing me for months about the bamboo log stuff. And then when I posted it, the dude went silent. So you know what? I don't care about that. And Tim has other income streams. YouTube is not his only income stream. Nero is. And it's why I do tell individuals that are looking to go into business to make sure that you diversify your income streams. Because if any one of them dries up, you have to make sure that you have something else coming in. Now, for Nero, he's got other ways, the memberships, the current videos that are on his channel that you can watch. He can get ad revenue from that. He just can't make any new streams, which means no gifted memberships, no things like that. And that sucks. There are still other ways, he and I have had some private discussions. And outside of just, opening the mouth of mine that appears to be quite loud in this industry, for better or worse reasons, I guess, there's not much that I can personally do other than tell you guys to go support him. So his channel's pinned. Go check out Nero. Subscribe to him, kick him some cash if you can. And I'd like for him to show me his metrics and see if he had a good bump from this. There's only like 50 people here. But you know what? If I can get one more person to kick him a couple of bucks, that goes a long way. And I'd like to believe that this industry is here for each other. I consider Nero a good personal friend, and I'm fine with that. 3DHP says my videos are not backed up, so if I get banned on YouTube ever, I lose over 400 videos. Well, okay. I don't want to get into data backup stuff, but that's a problem, and you might want to fix that. I would bulk download all of your videos from YouTube, so at least you have a copy of it. But, yeah, dude, every stream that we do that I care about, right? Like, the unboxing stuff is not that big of a deal to me. But every stream, like this stream right now, I'm recording twice. I'm recording in 2 separate locations so that if anything ever happens, I have the YouTube recording, I have my one recording, and then I have a backup recording. Always, 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 always back up your content. Because, yeah, you don't have control over it. You are at the mercy of a computer algorithm, if you will. So back on topic, right? Part of doing anything is that if you put effort, time, energy, resources into building something, you can quite literally do anything, right? I've watched one of our somewhat former staff. I don't honestly know how to consider this kid, but he worked with us for about a year and a half, 2 years maybe. First thing he ever did was basically cause me to commit mail fraud, which was funny. Great story there. We're not going to get into that today, but it is a very funny story. It wasn't intentional, but it was very funny. It's how I got a phone call from my postmaster general. Very nice individual now. But, now this kid is running metal 3D printers in college. And he's taken up a hobby because his college has a shooting range. They have a pistol range on campus, which is an interesting thing for a college in the U.S. that's not in Florida. But they have a range, so he's recently been taking up firearms, and so we've been talking about firearms. We've been talking about that kind of thing, and that's a cool thing. We're able to kind of connect with that. He was telling me about how he's learning how to print certain metals, and he's the youngest trained operator of a Cobod concrete 3D printer in the world. This kid is just moving and moving and moving, and he's an adult now. He will always be a kid to me, and yeah, it's like, it is crazy to see somebody grow, right? It's crazy to see somebody grow like that. And, part of me says, man, I wish I was his age, so that I could get experiences like that, where I could go to a school and get a degree in additive manufacturing. But Grant, you probably weren't smart enough to get into schools like that. Right? You weren't the best in school. You did okay. You weren't the best at test taking. And that was always one of your cruxes. And so you did what was best for you, right? And he's doing what's best for him. And you, the viewer, the listener, the watcher, whatever, is doing what's best for yourself. And if staying at your current job is what's best for you, while you run a 5 to 9, right, on the off time during your day job, that kind of stuff, that's where you find passion. Find your passion in the 5 to 9, while the 9 to 5 makes it so you can do that passion. And when that passion becomes something that is well and above paying you more than your day job, and you can prove it for like 6+ months, maybe then look at going down to part-time in the day job so you can focus more on the full-time thing, the new full-time thing. That is understanding what delegation looks like. That is understanding what it looks like to say, I know what I'm good at. It's doing my damn day job while I do something else. You see a lot of big content creators that still maintain day jobs because they want a guaranteed revenue stream. You'll see some that say, I quit my day job to be a full-time YouTuber. Yeah, if you find the right market, you work with the right companies, it can be a very, very lucrative thing. But if you suck at talking to people about yourself, and you suck at asking people for money, then you might need some help doing that. I need help doing that. And so I understand where my engagement skills are, right? I understand where I need help and where I don't. I can't always put it in paper, like put it on writing of like what we need. like, a job description, right? What do I need? I need someone to help me unmess up this business, right? It's one of those things that every business needs. Every business needs more cash and customers. All right, that's a common goal. Every single person in this world could use more money. It's not going to hurt them, right? You watching could probably use more money. I hedge bet you could use more money. But what you really need is something that will help you obtain that money. Being given it doesn't prove anything to you. It doesn't show that you have any value. If you can provide extra value, you can get extra money. If you can do extra things, you can get extra money. If you can be focused on making cool stuff, you too can bring in extra money. And so I look at it and say, yes, I sit from a tower of privilege here, but I took a lot of risks to get to where I am. YouTube, we're in at least 80 grand, at least $80,000 at this point since we started. The bulk of that is a financial loss. Can we ever turn it around? I don't know. I will tell you, I love doing this. It is what motivates me to work harder in 3D Musketeers, because I want to make more money in the day job of the business of this company so that we can afford now a second editor who you guys just met. If you didn't watch the Friday video, both Andrew and Rob is our newest editor, had cameos. If you watched to the end credits, you noticed that we had a new editor come in. But now you get to see what Rob looks like. You guys get to see Andrew again. Also, watch the end of that video because the blooper is hilarious. But yeah, right? I'm willing to take these risks because I recognize that not only a single source of failure is a bad idea for a business, but two, I love doing this. And I look at it and say, all right, there is a path to becoming profitable here. But at the end of the day, yeah, I would love to get paid to go to shows. Like, we don't have a sponsor for Rocky Mountain. So, hi, if you'd like to sponsor us for Rocky Mountain, email me, youtube at 3dmusketeers.com. Hell, email me directly, grant at 3dmusketeers.com. Like, I don't care. Technically, they both go to my inbox. Magic. But, I would like to find financial sponsors, right? And that's why we push YouTube memberships, PayPal, Patreon, and all of that, because views are worth very, very little. We're going to be doing merch eventually. I've actually pushed merch lower on my priority list because I can spend so much time digging into something that has no appreciable value for our business immediately, right? Shirts have a good profit margin. It's why YouTube channels do merch. They have phenomenal profit margins, but they are also a monumental time sink. And for somebody like me who is creative yet not artistically inclined, right? I can't draw worth a damn. I know what I want, but I can't describe it. I hire graphic artists that I can describe and talk about what I want. And they say, I think I have an idea. Let me do it. I'm like, all right, go do it. I'll pay you. Just go have fun. And that has always worked out for us. We have some cool designs coming, but I still need to find a company to do the printing. I've sent out samples. I haven't even looked at the samples yet. So, yeah. Part of this is understanding that, like, I suck at drawing. So don't try to be the artist. Hire an artist. You could go to Fiverr, you could go to Upwork. I go to the local art college, and I hire students and graduates out of the local art college. Why? Because they get it. And even better if they're cat lovers. So, yeah. Scalability, right? Part of a business is scaling and growth. And I need to get my business mentor on here once. So, Scott, I don't know if you actually watch or listen to these, but if you do, you should be a guest at some point. My business mentor's name is Scott. We've been working together for a few years now, and he kind of just advises me on those difficult decisions. He taught me an adage back in the day of ask for money, you get advice. Ask for advice, you get money. which is funny because I got into a business pitch competition. I came in fourth. And the only reason I came in fourth was because one of the judges had no idea what it was that we did. Which was funny because my business pitch was all about building an education platform to help people understand what 3D printing is. But he had no idea what 3D printing was, so he didn't give us high marks. Which I think is kind of BS because I feel like that proved the market immediately. But whatever, I came in fourth place. Part of that pitch is that you had to ask for money. You had to. It was part of it. You needed to ask for money. So I think I asked for like $10,000 or $15,000 to help build out this content platform. Scott was there. He offered his assistance, not his money, which is fine. Ultimately, I wanted the assistance of someone who knew what they were doing. Scott does. And kind of the rest is history. Scott and I would find ourselves in the same room all the time. We just never had a chance to really sit down and talk about it. But recently, we found a business model that is scalable, like really scalable and easily scalable. It's expensive. Each node of the business that we stand up is multiple people and multiple $40,000 scanners, right? It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's really scalable. And it's a business model that is lather, rinse, and repeat everywhere across the country. He said, Grant, he said, it's a weird one, but this is the business that you can scale. This is the business that you can turn to be profitable. Instead of struggling to find your niche and what works for you and all of that. This, assuming you can get the little things that are a problem right now, assuming you can get those past and make it work, you've got yourself a business model that is scalable. And scalability is where businesses start to grow. It's where you can really work on your business rather than in it. And see, if you're running a 3D print farm, right? What does scaling look like? Scaling for a 3D print farm is more printers. Is that easy? You might say, of course, Grant, it's easy. But is it? You might need more power. You might need more staff. You might need to order more filament, right? You're going to have to do more shipping runs. You're going to have to build more relationships with shipping companies. You're going to have to do all of these things that are way more time than that you did not expect. And you have to do it because it's part of scaling your business. And so if you're not really keeping an eye on where you can delegate your tasks, then you have zero chance of being able to scale your business. Zero chance. Because you're going to get caught up in the minutia that doesn't matter. We call it penny wise and dollar stupid. Who gives a damn about a nickel? I care about $5, $10, $50, $100. If it is an extra nickel to do something that is way more efficient, if it's an extra $5 to do something that's way more efficient than doing it all manually, then I'll do it. It's why SaaS businesses work, software as a service, because they provide value that increases your efficiency to a point where the amount of time that you're saving well and truly encompasses the value of the software that you're paying to them. So if it's a $50 a month software, you might say, Grant, I'm never going to pay $50 a month. That's $600 a year. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Is that good math? No, $300 a year. Right? My math is really bad. You see, this is why I'm not an engineer. I'm going to verify that because it's going to bother me. I was right the first time. It's $600 a year. I was right the first time. But so $600, you might say, Grant, that's a ton of money. But is it? Is it really a ton of money? If what you're using it for saves you 10 minutes every single time that you use it, and you use it once a day, use it once a day, 5 days a week, and it saves you 10 minutes. And let's say you bill your time at $50 an hour. That means you are saving 300 minutes a month. And, oh wait, that's not right. because we said 5 days a week. So I don't know if this math is even going to work. I assume this math should work. 5 days a week, let's assume 4 weeks in a month. That's 20 days times 10. It's 200 minutes. It's 3 hours. Call it 3 hours. Round it down to 3 hours. $50 an hour. It's $150 of value that you're saving by spending $50 a month. But if you're looking at saying, I don't have the cash to spend that $50 a month, I would argue and say, what could you do with that extra 10 minutes? What is that extra 10 minutes a day worth to you? And if that extra 10 minutes a day is another phone call, it's another email, it's another this, another that, another whatever, then that software actually has more value to you than you realize. Be the person that sees value rather than sees dollar signs, right? I know when you don't have any income, it's difficult to look at value because, Grant, I don't have a way to pay for it. Yep, I get that. Been there, done that, gotten the t-shirt. And I don't know if I have the best advice because what I did, you shouldn't do. I went to Chase Bank, I opened up a business account, and I got a credit card that had 12 months interest-free. And we ran a credit card. We ran it pretty close to maxed out for 12 months, and then we tried to pay it off for the last 3 months, and we failed. And we hit credit card debt. And if you've ever been in debt, credit card debt is the bastard of all debt. It is a ridiculously high interest rate. We spent over a year taking all the money that we made and trying to pay off that damn credit card till finally we figured it out. Finally, we just paid it off. And it sucked. It sucked. So if you are going to do something like that, where you use a credit card, like a 12-month interest-free credit card, be very careful and make sure you pay it off in time. Credit card debt it's a bastard. You don't want to find yourself dealing with that. You can look at taking a loan, right? SBA loans are pretty low in terms of interest rates. You could look at a line of credit, though those do tend to have high interest rates. Do not take out a second mortgage on your house for capital. That's ridiculous, because if you fail to make those payments, they take your damn house. Stay away from anything that has personal guarantees, because in the event that your business fails, they will take everything that you own. They'll take everything. And don't try to hide it from them, because as soon as a bank finds out that you've been hiding assets, they sue you for it. You'd be better off to try to find an investor, right? But understand that when you have an investor, you might not make the decisions anymore. And it's why that slow growth at the beginning is totally okay. But it's why you see a lot of businesses try to raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of initial capital. It's so they can burn it and hope that they can light the larger bonfire that is their business. Literally, these companies that are raising $10, $20 million are doing it so they can effectively light it on fire and hope that they can set a much larger fire with it. Sometimes, yeah, they can set that fire, and they set that fire fast. Other times, they spend all their effort and energy to try to light that fire, and they find out it doesn't work. It's not the right time. And because it's not the right time, it doesn't work. And that can suck. But guess what? They can still walk away. They can still walk away with, maybe not as much as their pride, but they still have their house. They can still go get a job. They can still go do all this stuff. Scalability occurs when you can financially afford it. If you're on one $100 ender and you're trying to make some extra side cash, dude, imagine getting a second $100 ender. Imagine getting a third. Imagine getting up to $500 enders, then saying, you know what? I'm going to start buying a better printer. I'm going to start getting better printers. And you slowly work your way up. Don't go buy the Ferrari from day one. No, there's no point in that. Start off with what you can afford. Scale at a reasonable rate. You want to know the thing that kills businesses more than anything else? Once they're kind of established, it's scaling. Because if you scale and grow your business too fast, you run out of resources. And that resource is often people. Have you noticed that some companies have really crappy customer service and they never seem to get better at it. But some people get good service and others don't. It's really just unreliable, period. Have you noticed that? I'd hedge a bet and say the answer is yes. You've probably noticed this before. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because the company has decided that its resources are not worth spending on people. Or that company has grown so fast, they can't hire fast enough to bring in people to assist. So you end up with a company that had great customer service in the beginning, but now that they're much larger, they never really grew their customer support team, or they didn't grow it as fast as their company grew. So now their support sucks. That's business. And as a consumer, that pisses you off, but you'll still buy from them. But you're upset about it. Well, if you're upset about it, but you still buy, why would I as a business care more about customer service if it's not losing me enough business for it to change anything? See, Prusa has decided that their customer service is a sale value. That's a value to them. Other companies have decided it's not, right? Elegoo to me is the one that kind of stands out. They're a company that sells very, very affordable printers that actually has half decent customer support. Like, they're only via email, but they're reasonably fast. They've always answered my questions. They've always gotten me the parts that I needed when I had stuff that broke on my machines. Like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But they're kind of the exception to the rule. I buy from Prusa still because I want that customer support. I don't want to wait. And I buy from Elegoo for the resin printers because they're disposable. When the machines break, I just buy new ones. It's not worth it. Because to me, scalability is understanding that you don't necessarily need $80,000 machines to make it. I want Toyota Corollas. I don't want Ferraris. I drive a 22-year-old Honda with the original VTEC motor because I know that that motor is pretty much guaranteed to never die. Knock on lots of cardboard and wood, and I love that car. It's got 181,000 miles on it. Love that car. It's super comfortable for me. I'll drive it till the damn thing dies, and I'll probably still try to save it. I want reliability. I don't need to be the first person across the finish line. I want to be the one that will always get across the finish line. I'm looking at you, F1 drivers. I'm looking at you, F1 drivers. Like, friggin', like, almost all the greats weren't on the podium because they all pushed the limit and they all screwed up. That's life. That's life. I'd rather scale slow. Scaling slow to me is predictable. Predictability is where I can start betting on things, right? I am betting on the fact that our YouTube channel is going to keep going up. I think that's a fair thing to bet on. So I'm looking at how do I bring on the right people at the right time to help us be more efficient. I am scaling it slowly. Now, part of not doing everything is also about something that I should probably take my own advice on, and I don't. So I'm going to say this from a position of someone who should do it, but doesn't. It's a work-life balance. I mean, literally, it's 1 p.m. on a Sunday, and I'm here talking to you guys on YouTube rather than, let's see, what do I have to do today? I have 12 or 13 prints I need to get running. I have customization to parts we need to make. I have to finish filming Wednesday's video. I have to make sure I have all the parts of the Voron build. I have a bunch of stuff that I need to be doing. I could also be doing nothing, which is what I did this morning. I didn't do anything this morning. And I feel guilty about it because I have work to do. But it's a work-life balance. Part of my problem is that I live where I work. And so I can't really escape the business. And we are looking to solve that problem, but that's like on the short side, it's probably a $40,000 to $50,000 problem. On the high side, it's probably a $150,000 to $200,000 problem. And to be clear, finances to afford. One of them is a shipping container. The other one is an actual building. But local laws state that I can't have a shipping container, so that's a pain in the ass. Nonetheless, my goal is to, at some point, petition to the county to get a allowance to do this, to put the shipping container here where I can move the business into it, where, you know, I don't have to deal with that one law because of what we're doing with it, right? David Connor Show versus lots of 119 square foot sheds. Fun problem with sheds in my area. They can't have a concrete pad. If they have a concrete pad, they are classified differently. Now they're no longer sheds. So, yeah. For some reason, a lot of sheds around here miraculously get concrete pads after they're inspected. I don't know how that happens. There must be a concrete fairy. But that's how it happens. But, dude, I live in Florida. It has to have air conditioning. If it doesn't have air conditioning, buddy, there are so many problems. There are just so many problems. Hendrick Electroplating says, this sounds German to me. Is that good or bad? I'm not certain if that's good or bad. But yeah, and I'm going to kind of call out the Europeans here because I think the EU has a really good... Oh, bad. Well, that sucks. Well, damn. Also, if you are who I think you are, you should be on this podcast at some point. You should email me, Hendrick. YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com. Shoot me an email. But, like, Europe has amazing work-life balances, even for small business owners, right? There is a thing where you take vacation. You take, it's 4 to 5 weeks of vacation a year. In the United States, it's frowned upon to take vacation. Yeah, it's odd. I used to have a much better work-life balance before my injury. And I find now that the time that I would be spending doing leisure stuff, like kayaking or dancing. I went dancing like 3 weeks in a row, and then I haven't been back because I'm always busy again. Well, because I'm spending a lot of the time that should be leisure time in pain. And, if you have those modifiers, I get it. Your work-life balance isn't going to be where you want it to be. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it gets better, because I don't know. For me, it's gotten worse. But that's okay. I have a consult for an injection on Monday, right? I have a consult for an injection tomorrow. I'm going to be working on that, right? But if all you do is work, you don't really get an appreciation for what you're working for, what you're working towards. I think I've talked about it, that we have a staff member that works with us every single year until he gets enough money to go on a vacation and he doesn't work with us anymore. That's exactly how he works. And his work-life balance is he has a day job that pays him well. It doesn't pay him enough to go on the vacations that he wants. So every year, he'll bother me in January. He'll work for a few months until he makes enough money that he can get the vacation that he wants. He goes and takes it. That's it. Then I don't hear from him for the rest of the year. January again. Hey, Grant, ready to work. I'm like, all right, buddy, let's get this stuff done. It's a great relationship because the dude knows exactly what he wants. The dude knows exactly what he wants, and he works exactly for it. And he tells his day job, basically, you can't replace me. I'm going to go on this vacation. And when I come back, if my job's not here, I'm going to go work for your competitor for basically double what you're paying me. So I'll see you when I get back, right? And yeah, so far that's worked out well for him. But that's not always the case for everybody. And as Mad Cat says, I just want to make enough to pay the bills. Yep. That's where a lot of people are at, man. We just want to make enough to pay the bills. And so that's where I say, yeah, look at what that next thing that you can do to help scale is, right? Look at what scalability is. PC Van Vliet. I want to say PC Evangelist, but PC Van Vliet says, happiness and mental health are more important than GDP. I would get yelled at if I publicly would agree to that, because that's un-American. But screw it. I agree with that. I would much rather be happy. Now, to be clear, YouTube has made me miserable at times. YouTube has made me very happy at times. But overall, I still enjoy it, right? There are going to be good days. There are going to be bad days. There are good days with 3DM. There are bad days with 3DM. But that's life. You know? That's life. So having some work-life balance. I don't really care what you do. Have some work-life balance, right? It's important. Because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out trying to do everything rather than delegating where you need to. But here's a big one. Risk management. Risk management. I get it. Grant, I'm going to start my own business. Obviously, I'm not risk averse. No, but you can be, right? The risk of starting your own business obviously has some potential problems there. But if you can look at using delegation as a way to mitigate that risk, do it. For me, the big risk is doing my own books. For the amount of money that I pay, the amount of stress that is removed from me because it's not my effing problem anymore is a huge amount of risk management. If we ever get the A word from a 3-letter organization, I say, here's the person that does all of this. Here's a big chunk of money person that does this. Make it not my problem. Because I don't want to deal with that. It's not something I want to deal with. I recognize where I want to take my risks. Where do I want to take my risks? I want to take my risks in things like playing with crazy machines, with doing products that are right on the bleeding edge of what this technology can do. I want to take my risks in trying out new industries, new stuff, new machines, take risks on buying capital equipment that I don't immediately have a need for, but I got a damn good deal on it and I can build a market for it. That's the kind of stuff that I want to do. I want to take those risks. I don't want to take risks that could land me in jail. I know what risks I want to take, and I will mitigate those risks that I don't want to take by delegating that stuff to somebody else. I don't want to have a risk of not being the right person to do the design job, so I don't bother doing the design work unless it's easy enough that I can just do it myself. It's often not. Sometimes it is. It's often not. That kind of stuff is very important to me. And if all you're doing is focusing on that dollar, right, then you're chasing the wrong thing. See, because we chase money for what? So we can retire, we can have families, we can have kids that don't have to worry about money, so that we can feel comfortable. Well, instead of chasing the money, why don't we chase the dream? Why don't we chase the value, the feeling, right? Yes, the money is what gets us to that point, but it's very easy to move the goalpost for money. It's very difficult to move the goalpost for, what feels good. Is Amber deleting comments? Amber, why are you deleting comments? Is Amber accidentally, deleting everybody's comments? Amber B. You're probably on her phone. I accidentally hit buttons trying to keep YouTube open on my phone. Oh, yeah, that'll happen. Mac says retire. What's that? Yeah, dude. Retire. Retire is, I don't know. retiring's a little different, you know? For some, they'll never retire. Not because they can't, but because they don't want to. We find that retirees often go back into the workforce because it makes sense. They want something to do. They run out of the fun that they thought it was going to be. But they do a job that they enjoy. To give you guys an idea, so when I was building my first pretty substantial Tesla coil, and I was on the phone with Eric Goodchild, one of the premier Tesla coil builders in the world. He was a good friend of mine. We haven't spoken in quite some years. My favorite interaction with a retiree was when I was talking with him about resonant frequencies on the phone. I was out in public. I was at Publix, grocery store here down in Florida. I was at Publix. I was just walking around on the phone. And we were talking about the resonant frequency of the coil and why my math worked, but the coil wasn't resonating the way that it should have. It wasn't producing the arcs that we were expecting. And I hear someone say, "You're not accounting for RMS." And I didn't think anything of it. And then he says again, "Hey, dude on the phone, you're not accounting for RMS." And I'm like, "Do you even know what we're talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, you're building a Tesla coil." I'm like, "How do you know that?" Because I know the equation you're doing. I'm like, and I said, "Eric, I'm going to call you back. I have a very interesting interaction coming up here." This individual happened to be someone that worked on the Manhattan Project. You know, that Manhattan Project. And he was retired working at Publix as a baker because he was bored. I talked with that man for like 2.5 hours. And every time I saw him, he would say, "Hey, it's RMS guy." Son of a gun. The guy was right, by the way. We weren't accounting for RMS on the line voltage. He was totally right. We weren't accounting for RMS on the line voltage, and my top load wasn't the right size, so it wasn't resonating properly. And that was one of the most interesting experiences I've ever had. Because I said, "Well, what?" I said, "You are responsible for not only the most interesting experiments the United States ever did, but some of the most deadly things the United States ever did." He's like, "Yeah, you want to know something crazy? I knew what we were doing, but we had to tell a story, right? Because we were all risks of getting kidnapped." He said, "So the story that we told our loved ones was that we were making the world's largest toaster." I said, "That's not technically wrong." He said, "No, it's not. Not when you knew, not when you look back at it now, it's not." I said, "Do you ever have any regrets in life?" He said, "I realized pretty early on what we were doing, and it felt like the right thing at the time, but I'm not so sure right now that it was the right thing." He said, "But it's not that I regret doing it. It's that I regret not saying something about it." He said, "I know that they would have done it regardless if I was there or not. They would have just found somebody to replace me. But I never spoke up about it, and that's something I've always felt weird about." It's something I like to ask people that are at their retired age, or they're at a point in life where they're not chasing the dollar anymore. I ask what regrets they have, and almost always their regrets are that they focused on money. They didn't focus on a goal. They made the money the goal rather than focusing on something else, right? It's like Scott tells me, stop focusing on getting the business of YouTube to be net profitable. Focus on a subscriber number. Focus on a sponsor number. Right? Focus on a number that you know will get you there. Don't worry about the money. Because if all you do is worry about the money, you're going to get pissed when you have a bad day. The problem is, I started focusing on subscribers. And when we lose a couple of subscribers, we have a day of negative stuff, I get really upset. Because it's like, what the hell? So we're looking at how we can kind of reformat that and understand what that growth could look like. But I find that it's good to ask people that, right? When you ask people about nice cars, I know what the car is. I want to know what decisions in life that you made that got you to a point where owning a $250,000 car was something you wanted to do. In fact, I went to college with a guy that owns a Lamborghini Huracan now. He's a lawyer. He's a very successful lawyer. And I said, why? And he said, honestly, I've always wanted one. It was my dream car. So I made enough money in a couple of cases. I said, what the hell? I've got enough money. I can do it. I can afford it. I can easily afford it. So I did it. All right. Hey, I can't hate that. I can't hate that. You know, I'm happy for him. His name is Kevin. He's an injury attorney here locally. Good guy. But, you know, if you don't manage all of that, if you don't manage your expectations, manage your risks, then you end up setting a bar for yourself that is so high, you come to the realization that you can't do everything. But more importantly, you feel like you can't do anything. Paralysis by analysis, if you will. And I don't want to see you suffer because you've set a bar way too high. We've talked about setting those small goals, right? Let's say you're using CAD class to learn Fusion, right? Okay, you got through your first class, reward yourself, right? You got a new customer, reward yourself. Celebrate the little wins. Because if all you do is focus on, quite frankly, the bullshit of trying to get to your next step, and, you know, oh, I'm not Mr. Beast. Well, I have some rough realization for you. You probably won't ever be. But if you set realistic goals and work toward it, you build the right content, you tell the right stories, you learn to be an effective storyteller, and you invest an obtuse amount of money into doing this, you too could be the next Mr. Beast. Statistically speaking, you probably won't be. But it's not impossible. Now, I'm not telling you this because I don't think that you specifically can't succeed. I believe that you can succeed. But I need you to also believe in yourself and set realistic goals that you can manage. And if you need to move those goalposts a little bit to help you hit it, then do it. I ain't gonna judge. I move my goalposts all the time. All the time. Hell, it's good enough for the United States, good enough for me. And so, yeah, while it's not easy, especially when you're grinding, to have a work-life balance, it is monumentally important that you keep it in mind. Right? Amber and I delivered some stuff to Tampa City Council. Actually, I have to bring them more stuff. We did some parts for the city of Tampa. We did a beautiful seal. It was hand painted. I did not do the painting because I suck at painting, so I hired a painter to do it, a friend of mine who did it. And when they delivered it, the paper they wrapped it in kind of stuck to some of the paint that was still just a little bit wet when it got delivered. So I had to do some touch-ups, which I can do. Fine with that. I matched the paint colors, very proud of myself. I couldn't find the paint that they used, but I found the kind of paints that I thought would look good, and I matched the paint like dead on. I was so proud of myself when I did that. That was like such a win for me. But what they ordered and what they actually wanted ended up being two different things. So I'm going to be remaking them some parts so that they can get what they want. But I recognized that, where am I good at? I can make the seal, but I can't paint it. My normal lead painter is going through some things right now, and he's not available. So I have a friend who does painting. She's amazing. Her name is Eris. And she did the paint job for us. It was expensive, but I don't care. I worked it into my price. In fact, I passed the cost of the painting on directly to the customer. I did not even, I didn't upcharge for it because I want to pay people what they're worth and what I believe that they're worth. And Eris does an amazing job painting. So I looked at it and said, all right, I could look at charging them again. It's going to be on my net profit margins, but I don't care. I don't care. Because what I know is that I'm going to do right to my customer, and I'm not going to worry about the little stuff. I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. I'm not going to sweat, 12 hours on a printer? So what? Who cares? Half a kilo of filament? Who cares? $10? Who cares? You know what I care about? I care about keeping that multi-$1,000 customer. I care about keeping that multi-$1,000 customer happy. I don't care about what I need to do to make it right, regardless if it's what they actually ordered. I care about what is best for my business. Could I charge them? I could. I'm not gonna. Because, one, I don't want to go through the bidding process again. That was a pain in the ass to begin with. But two, it shows that I care more about making them happy than I care about my bottom line. And besides, like any good business, you account for the fact this might need to happen every now and then. And you write it into your cost of doing business. It's why I talk about you needing to raise your prices. I had some family in town. I went and visited some family yesterday. And I brought all the kids the bone dragons. Kids love the dragons. The bone dragons are the easiest ones to print, in my opinion. So I made some for the kids. And my aunt, who might be watching, if you are, hello, said, how much would you charge for these? I said, too much. Well, why? I see these on like Etsy and TikTok for like $20. I said, yeah, think you can buy them for $20. I'm not going to charge that little because this is not my core business. My core business is making big parts for big companies that pay big money. I did this for you and your kids so I could give them something for the holidays coming up, regardless of the religious connotations for some, and some just enjoy the rabbit. And the kids were happy. That's all that I cared about, man. That's all that mattered to me. I took a little bit of work-life balance, spent some time with family. I'm going to pay for it by being up late tonight, up late tomorrow, up late the next day to make up for the work that I missed, but that's life. That's life. I said it is worth it to me to see my family and spend time with them. And I can do a little bit of work on the phone and whatever, than it is for me to say I'm not going to go down there, I'm not going to go see the family, and miss opportunities to just enjoy a little bit, And I get it that not everyone has family that they like. I'm not going to blame you if you don't want to go spend time with your family. But I will say, certainly, if you have a good relationship with your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, call them. Go visit them. If you can go drive to go visit them, go do it. Take a day. Who gives a shit? You miss a day in your business? Who cares? Who cares? Set expectations that instead of being the person that gets back to people in 20 minutes, be the one that gets back to them in 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. Because if you're the person, if you're trying to be Prusa support and you're only one person, you're going to end up like, companies who I've digged into for their support. Set an expectation that you can contact me via email. I will get back to you when it is convenient for me. I would say, don't do what I do. Don't have your business open 7 days a week. Take the weekends off. And if you do have a day job, okay, you can try to work the weekends. But understand, if you got a significant other, it's going to put weight on that. If you've got kids, it's going to weigh on that, right? All of those things are things that you have to weigh out and say, what is my opportunity cost to do this? And you might decide that it's not worth running your own business. You might decide it's worth just getting a part-time job. You might decide that I just would rather work for a company like 3D Musketeers where I can take work when I want it, don't take work when I don't want it. And if that's the case, send me a resume, send me a portfolio. We're looking for a bunch of different people right now. I think we found the writers that we're looking for. I'm fairly certain we're good there. I have to give them interviews again, but the work they did was good and I'm happy with that. We might need one more engineer, but I'm looking for people to assist on the YouTube channel. Because I know that I can get better at it, but I think I need an expert to help hold my hand for a little bit. I'm okay with paying for that. Because again, I can either ride the struggle bus, learn and learn and learn and learn, or I can pay someone who doesn't mind talking cool things about me and what we do to do it for me. And if I want to learn how they do it and eventually do it myself, I can do that. But I should set expectations ahead of time to make sure that they recognize that this is a temporary position. Right now, I don't know if it's going to be a temporary position. We'll see what happens in the long run. But ultimately, to me, I recognize that I can do anything that I want. Within the confines of the law, of course. Although I guess I could technically go outside of the law if I wanted to. I could do anything that I want. I can't do everything. And while, yes, if you have income, if you have all of that, it is very easy to sit in your ivory tower and say that, oh, I can just hire people. There are ways that you can grow in a meaningful manner that don't suck. I promise you. So where exactly does this leave us? Where does this leave us? Right? We have opportunity with delegating. We have opportunity to do it correct. We have opportunity to do it incorrect. And we recognize the risk factors that are associated with it. We understand that we must diversify our revenue streams. We recognize that, if we need it, there are ways to make cash. You might not like the job, but there are ways to make cash. We recognize that credit card debt is a pain in the keister and you don't want to do it. We recognize that focusing on what you're good at and offloading the things that you aren't might be a good place for you to be. We recognize that efficiency and productivity are king here. Because if you're being slowed down by things that don't matter, then why are you doing it in the first place? Delegate it. We recognize that scalability and growth are only achievable when you understand how to work on your business versus in it. That does take time. And it's okay to not know how to do it. I want to help you guys. If I can help you, please reach out. If you happen to be in Pasco County, Florida, I am the entrepreneur in residence for Central Pasco County. It is literally part of my job to help entrepreneurs here in Pasco County, Florida, to scale their businesses. It's part of my job. And yes, I'm really bad at taking my own advice. That's okay. I know where I'm deficient. So I have people that help give me that advice. That's the same stuff that I say to myself. And I can take their advice. I realize where I'm deficient. You have to figure that out for yourself too. Remember, it's okay to ask for help, damn it. And in fact, I recommend you do. Do what works for you. I want everybody here to succeed. I know that you spend time here, maybe because you like the channel, you're expecting me to go off on a tirade about something. You like that I'm open and honest with you guys. But at the same time, I value the fact that you believe that you're spending valuable time with me. I like that at one point we peaked at... Oh, we were one short. We were peaked at 68 viewers. That's so close. So close. Like, I appreciate that stuff, man. And I know that your time has value, and that's why I like that you all are here. But it's also why I asked, hey, kick a couple of bucks. Kick $1, kick 10, kick 20. Although today, I'm going to tell you to go support Nero. Nero needs our support. Last but not least, think about a succession plan. What is the goal of the business? I know in the beginning, it is very, very easy to have the hit by a bus problem, where if you got hit by a bus, your business fails, right? There's no kind of security for the business. I know that. Sorry, I'm putting in some stuff to so that when we're done, we can just push everybody into Steve's stream. I know it's hard to do that, but part of a succession plan of a business is making sure that you can replace yourself. Bring in a GM, bring in someone that understands what's going on. If you want to still stay and hang out and work, by all means, freaking do it. Dude, freaking do it. I want you to do it. I want you to enjoy that time. But I want that stress to go away. So remember, you can do anything that you want. Don't try to do everything. Start slow, grow reliably, grow repeatably. Have a plan. Be willing to adjust it. Have backup plans. Understand that asking for help is okay. And if I can help you, you can reach out to me. YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com. That goes directly to my inbox. We're here to help. I think that's a good place to stop this one for today, y'all. Appreciate everybody coming out. Rocky Mountain Rep Rap is coming up, so if you are going to be there, come and find us. We'll be filming all day. And we're going to try to do, I bought a 360 camera. So we're going to try to do a live stream with 360 video. I think it might be fun. Of just kind of walking around Rocky Mountain for maybe, 40 minutes or so. I don't know how long I can get away with running on batteries for stuff, because I'm going to have to use like a phone, I think. I'm going to have to use a phone to do that. Anyways, there's a lot that I want to do with you guys. It's going to take some time. We have an audio series coming up. Wednesday's video is going to be on Orca Slicer 2.0. So, yeah, that's all I have for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And, as always, keep making awesome. Episode 180. Leave a like, get subscribed, go support Nero. And, hey, we're going to go over to Steve Builds. We'll see you guys later.